Hey guys, so we're gonna go on a little garden tour and we're gonna see what's new in the garden and play with the puzzles apparently. See you soon. Sorry, this little one wants so much attention right now. Say hello, hi Lilith. You can say hi? Hmm? Oh, big stretches. Ooh. Come on, let's go be a helper. Alright, so we're gonna start over here by the door. Sorry, she keeps meowing. So, over here, I don't know if you guys can see it really well, but I have all my thyme lined up right here. These were from the little window boxes or just little barbecue sets that you can get from Home Depot for herbs. They come with oregano, trailing rosemary, and thyme. So these little guys right here, me and my husband pulled these apart and planted them last night. These little bushes here, let's see, what are they? They're the Celosis La Ramba or something like that. They're from Miracle Grow's Brilliant Bloom collection. These guys over here are doing really well. They seem to like the less sunshine. You keep your tail where it belongs. And then we had more thyme than we had any of the others. So this is the last time over here. We had two of the oreganos. They are two plants here facing each other on either side of this little drip system here. We did that so that way they could just kind of tangle back up amongst themselves like they were in the little boxes, because everything was just all a tangled mess. And figured that they would just be happy right there close to each other. Hush. Hush. Okay. The broccoli I have over here is trying to bolt on me. For the majority of the reason, I just may let this one do its thing. The Johnny Jump Ups that I have over here aren't doing so well. Two of them have basically died, and I have another one that is dying. I don't know why it is, other than it is reaching about 95 degrees. Everything needs to be kind of watered today, but everything was pretty wet last night because my husband's been helping me water, so I wasn't too worried today. There's rosemary in the back, right there. Those are two trailing rosemaries, so a lot of this may be covered in the future between the thyme and the rosemary and the oregano. Hush. My bachelor buttons are getting taller, no blooms yet. I'm thinking about maybe pinching one or two back to see how that goes and letting the other ones just kind of do their thing to see if there's a big difference, if it's necessary to do that. My rattle poppy here is getting big and beautiful, and amongst all of this down here is a bloom that's trying to start. Hush. My dill is doing so-so. So I have this really horrendous aphid problem. I don't know if you can see it already, but every inch of this thing is pretty much covered. I sprayed it with neem oil last night, but I don't think I did enough. Shaking off some stuff off of that plant. And the problem is it sits right next to my pineapple sage here. So I don't know if there's a problem on it as well or not yet, because I can't quite see it very well, but yeah. I want to remove this plant more or less, but my husband wants me to leave it be. I've got plenty of seeds, I can just regrow it, but we'll see how it goes. I have my other pineapple sage. They're doing so-so. They do have a little bit of issues with like some kind of stressor. I'm not entirely sure what exactly. Alright, this little guy here I think is an artichoke. Right here, I think it's an artichoke. I'm not sure. I'm just gonna leave it be and see how things go. My sage has gotten a lot bigger. This is just regular garden sage. This is the only Rio that seems to be alive officially and producing more. Will you stop that? I know you want attention. Right now, girl, you're just being a pain. So yeah, it's the only one that seems to be doing fine. There's something wrong with the other 3. And we don't know what it is. 2 of them aren't even over in this box area. Only one of them kinda is, but it's irritatingly frustrating as I don't know what's wrong. Here is balsam, or it should be balsam anyways. It hasn't gotten a whole lot bigger, but it's gotten a little bit bigger. This is my only stock comb that I have that is staying pretty and lots of flowers just constantly. Alright. What is your problem? Alright, so that is my Icelandic Poppy. It's the only poppy that still has greenery on it. We don't know if they went into hibernation or not. This rosemary was from summer winds. I don't know what happened, but it just started doing that basically, where it looks like it's basically dead completely. I did cut back some of the branches. There is a little green in there, so I don't know if it's hibernating or what's going on, but it is what it is at this point. That is the other Rio. It was a red one. Well, like I said, it's not doing so well. The electric sky petunias are doing wonderful. Only had one spot that seemed to be an issue, but it was because the roots seemed to be exposed. So we covered it up, as you can see a little bit. There's some just amend thrown around so that way there's a little more coverage. I am letting like leaves and stuff from plants, even some of the rosemary leaves, just accumulate so that way it has a little bit more matter down here, because we've noticed that once the amend breaks down, our natural soil tries to revert back to how it was, so we're just leaving it and amending as needed. This little guy here is my Enkentia. Is that how you say it? It's a purple cone flower for those of you who don't know what an Enkentia is. It's supposed to be an edible medicinal flower that you can use for various things. I don't remember what those things are at the moment. In the back here, sorry, it hurts for me to sit back down because we did a lot of sitting and standing last night. In the back here, I should have purple peas. I don't know if they are the purple peas because there was 2 sets of peas back there. One didn't do so well. I have done a video prior to that, or prior to this, stating I had to move those peas out of the soil to amend the soil. Those peas were garden peas, like basically your standard green garden snap pea. And they died on me. I think the roots were a little too damaged. I think the plant was a little too stressed. It didn't like the adjustment in the new soil, so it pittered out. I did plant some more of that pea in there, hoping that I would get some, and then I planted purple peas as well, because I wasn't seeing any growth at all for like months. So we have those little babies over there. Why you gotta be under my feet, girl? We got those little babies over here, and then we've got some little sprouts. Probably can't see from this height, but those little sprouts in this emptier space over here. So from that T all the way over to where these little guys are. Yeah. I have, thank you. I have, I think, dragon tongue bush beans and the Lake 274 or 247, something like that, right there. Those are also bush beans. I had a bunch other stuff in here. I think there was like a purple potted bean or something like that. I don't remember. So one of these may or may not be that as well. But that's what happens when you have things that you plant and you don't label. This little bunch of goodies right here, these are going to be removed out of this planter. They are just sitting there chilling to kind of acclimate to the weather for the day. But those are cantaloupes and a sugar baby rush. Get out of my garden, you know better. Come on. Out, out. Out, out. Get your little prego butt out. Come on. Don't make me be mean. Out of the garden. Go on. You know better. Thank you. Alright, this guy right here, we had a bunch of butter crunch lettuce, romaine lettuce and stuff like that. I think this one is a surviving romaine lettuce, if I'm correct. I don't know, it could be the butter crunch. Either way, any of the lettuce that has bolted, I've just let do so. They are completely out of season. I'm hoping that maybe I can get some free reseeding so I can lazy garden. Alright, this little contraption here is a semi-TP contraption. I have in the back of it, going across over to the peas, it's just a standard little trellis. I used bamboo stakes and some, it's like garden twine. It's called something else, but it's basically just garden twine. And what I did is I ran it up in a little weird fashion to kind of give the peas something to climb up and climb on. But because there is straight neck squash back there and I want to trellis those as well, I have those in the back getting ready so that way they can be trained to go upwards, assuming that they get big enough. The ones in the front here though, those are just your standard zucchinis. Those I know for a fact do not like to be trellised at all and don't tolerate being trellised because they normally get really massive and heavy, and the center stalk of them generally is very thick. So I've seen people where they've tried and they've had zero success. I've seen people where they've tried and they've had semi-moderate success, so I guess it's to each your own at that point, but I'm just going to let those guys just do their thing. You'll see that I have random onions in my garden. Anytime I have an onion in the house that decides to become a plant, officially, not just your edible section, but the entirety of itself, like this little guy, I just pop it in the garden in a spot that doesn't have anything at the moment and wait for it to get big enough. We'll just go on from here with these guys. These are my Playboys. I have two of them. We gave you these beautiful pinky, orangey, yellow roses right here. They're not your traditional full bloom rose where they have multiple petals, but they do have at least one layer, maybe two layers of petals. My husband helped me last night deadhead all of the spent rose buds, and he just casually tossed them over there because he thought they looked pretty as a little compost thing. So I just let him do his thing because he was helping me and he was kind of learning at the same time. I showed him how to clip these the best that we could, so that way it would promote the newer growth to bloom versus leaving the old growth there, taking up energy that wasn't necessary. I had to reinforce a couple of the branches, well actually like one branch on each plant, somewhere between the store that I got it from, which was a Lowe's in Buckeye, and transporting them home. We had noticed that there was damage. However, this particular branch here that, yes, I have the reinforcement still attached to, part of that did not survive. So I clipped it down towards the reinforcement section here because the bent part was actually further down, but there was growth here but not further out. So I just trimmed it, hoping that it would still stay sturdy and grow around that particular area. Back here we have my red cabbage, or my husband likes to call them purple cabbage because they do look purple in all fairness. There's about 6 plants here. There is 2 or 3 of them that are really big because they're up in the front areas, and then the rest are kind of really small. They all have a tiny head on them. So we're waiting for them to get to approximately a softball size at best. Hoping that that is the size that we get, if nothing else. But the large heads would be appreciated as well. I'm sorry I'm rocking. I'm trying not to get stabbed by the rose over here. Alright, this little guy here and the one next to it and the one right here. Oops, I just knocked off some flower buds. I'm sorry. They are all the same type of lettuce. They all bolted. So, like I said, I'm letting them go. I've noticed that this one has a little bit of fuzzy seeds on it, so I might collect those here in a little while, but beyond that, I'm just letting them kind of just chill and hang out. I have some bull's blood beets down there. They're slowly but surely getting bigger. I have an imposter in the garden. Get off my beet. This little guy, I don't know if you can see that. Let me get him on the rock maybe. Alright, that little guy right here, who is now dead, he is my issue with my cabbage and a few other my plants. So I've been fighting them. But yeah, since I'm down here, bull's blood beets right here. This one I think is my velvet, my red velvet lettuce that I had gotten. But I don't remember which one it is because I had a bunch that were about the same color and only one of them grew, so who knows at this point because they weren't labeled. As I've said before, I have issues with bugs and pests. I don't know if you can see that since we're right here, but there's quite a bit of little gnat looking things all over this, everywhere. So this poor little plant is what it is at this point. And then these guys look a little gray because my husband helped me water and he couldn't get around the leaves. They were too densely packed for him to figure out how I water underneath them, so they're just sprayed with water. Get out of there! You are not allowed in my garden, girl. You know this. Out, out. No fussing. Come on. All the way out. Jump over it. Thank you. Alright, so yeah. All the lettuce is basically doing that. I'm just going to let them bolt. I'm going to try to collect whatever I can from whatever isn't super bolted yet. In my experience, they're already better, and I should just let them be. I kind of just want to pull out some of them, but at the same time I want to leave them for free seeds, so I'm very torn because I've got things to plant. This guy real quick. This guy is the cabbage that I had as of winter of last year. So in 2020, that winter, I had this cabbage. We had a problem with what is called a vole, which is basically, for those who don't know, a field mouse of sorts. Sorry, there's some new damage randomly and some droppings of some kind. I'm trying to figure that out. But it has a head now. It's a little bitty head. It's about that big-ish. It fits in that section of my hand. I do have a little bit of bug damage. I can tell from like this leaf it's been torn up. I have a spider that lives in here apparently. Just found a web. All my broccoli here. I've started to harvest whatever gets big enough to call a snack, and I'm hoping that the rest will kind of follow suit. I did just clip the flower section off of 2 of them, hoping side shoots would come up, but I'm afraid that maybe my weather's just too hot right now for them. We did get them late in the season, early in the spring, but my zone is 9B for Arizona. But I live in an area of the desert that's kind of where, like, if you live outside of town by 11 miles, you get snow and frost, and it'll freeze, and it'll hit lows of like 32, 20 degrees. But if you live where I live specifically, it does not freeze. It only hits to about a low of 30 maybe. And it's just weird. Like, I live in a microclimate inside of my climate, but I also get hotter quicker. So it's a little weird for me. I'm still learning how that works for me for gardening, but it's just all around irritating right now because the weather doesn't want to behave in what it wants exactly. My purple bell back there, still no bell peppers. I went and looked at a flower thinking that it was pollinated because I get lots of little hoverflies and bees and just all sorts of little pollinators, and the wind likes to just come through here and shake everything. So I was kind of hoping that there was just a couple bells just already forming, but when I went and touched one of the flowers, either the plant was super stressed at that time and eating the flower anyways, or I pulled too hard. I'm not sure, but I lost a flower. There was just one, but it was one of those where it looked like it was already going to form a bell pepper, so I was a little sad and annoyed. I got those from Summer Winds as well. They have not performed the way I'd hoped at all. I've had lots of issues trying to figure out what's wrong with them, if there's anything okay with them. Unfortunately, though, my faith in Summer Winds has dwindled due to the fact that they don't like giving good information. So if you're somebody who wants a very specific how to fix a problem, what are things I can do, A, B, C, X, Y, Z kind of person, like I can be, then getting a roundabout generic, I don't really know, it could be blah, and then you're just going to have to throw money at it, is not a solution that I accept or appreciate. I would like for a company that sells these plants to be very helpful to me on like things that could be a potential issue, especially when I give very detailed, like, this is what it's doing, this is what it looks like, these are the issues that I'm coming across. Like, I don't sit there and just generically tell them, oh, it's just not doing well, and leave it at that. No, like, I'm very detail orientated when I tell them, and they're just like, oh, well, you know. And you're just like, no, I don't know, so please tell me, please help me. But moving on, these are the rest of the, sorry guys, staring at a wall when I was ranting. These are the rest of the lettuce and the broccoli right here. That is the green bell pepper there. That is the better bell green bell pepper, also from Summer Winds. I did get one bell. It came with the bell already pre-growing, and I planted them basically as they were. I didn't mess with the roots. I didn't fuss with them really. I only took one or two leaves off that were already really damaged. Like, for example, if the leaf looked like that one right there in the front, I'd have just taken it off when I planted it and then just called it a day. But they're not doing the greatest. I have these onions here. I see one of them shot up a flower. I'm gonna let it flower. My black-seeded Simpson a couple days ago looked horrible. It looked really bad. It wasn't growing really. So now it looks pretty well. I think if the leaves get big enough, I could probably harvest a few, and then it'll probably just immediately bolt afterwards. These little lovelies probably look familiar to a lot of people. Now, it is May. It is the, I want to say, the 4th of May today. And I planted these right after I did my video on my previous potatoes, where I took out all my red potatoes that I had planted in the wintertime. So these are the potatoes that I have during the springtime. These ones are yellow. These ones are not the same as the other ones. Maybe one or two or three of them are. Beyond that, they aren't the same. So I'm hoping that these get all big and beautiful and produce relatively good sized potatoes, because I love the flavor of the other ones. We do, however, have some mystery seedlings down here. One of them has really big wide leaves for their beginner leaves. I'm not sure what that could be. It reminded me of a melon at first of some kind, but I don't remember throwing any melons in my compost unless it was a seed that got misplaced. But we have those. The rest of them are all like tomatoes or bell peppers, and I'll eventually come through and either get rid of them or move them somewhere. And they're gonna go through this whole area over here. And over here in the peppers and whatnot is the same problem, where I had all these little seeds in my compost that I didn't know never like composted down correctly. So now I have just a bunch of little free plants for no reason at all. And I'm leaving them there. They've gotten pretty big. They've grown quite a bit on their own. Very little maintenance comes over here at all. From the potato section all the way to the onion section, this is not amended like over there is or over here is. These, I dug the hole, I put the amend, I put the steer manure, I put some native dirt back in, mixed it all together and called it a day. Over here, I took the native soil and threw old compost that wasn't breaking down over here. Originally, I grew lima beans over here, no, pinto beans over here. I had a tomato over here. I have these peppers over here. These peppers have been here since I started that. This onion's been here about the same time, which that onion finally produced a new flower because I pinched off the first one. So this is my test area. This is my, how long does it take me to take my soil, which is dirt basically, it's clay and sand, and make it really usable. So I have a tiny little layer, if I dig down, it's a tiny little layer that actually looks black versus the rest of it. All this white looking stuff up here, this is a Kellogg raised bed garden bag. There was like, I don't know, a cup of soil or so left in the bottom of the bag. I didn't have anything I wanted to put it in, so I just threw it there as like an amendment of sorts. This onion over here is my oldest onion. The one that was sitting here is currently in my fridge. They didn't get like bulbed out or anything like that, but they are good still. I mean, you can eat them kind of like a green onion. So they're small, but they're good. These bell peppers that I had gotten about 9/11 for 2020, I want to say, yeah, I think it was 9/11 for 2020. I got 1 or 2 peppers off of each one, but nothing since, no flowers since. I saw some flowers, but they like threw their flowers. One of the bell peppers that was right here, it never came back from overwintering, so I just cut it down at the base the best I could, since there's a bunch of seedlings right there that popped up, and just kind of called it good at that. Moving over here, this is a blueberry plant right here. Not doing so hot. I'm still in contact with Baker Creek about that. I don't know if I did something or if there's something wrong with the plant, but it's frustrating at best because I really wanted the blueberries at the most, and it seems like those ones aren't doing anything. These little hoop trellis things, these are the ladder reinforcement looking things that you put in between like bricks for like walls and stuff like that, or you lay them in concrete. They're small. They're about, no, I don't know, 2 inches or so across, maybe 1.5 inches. And I don't know how tall they are. Oh, my husband moved the other one. There was one that was just laying in the way. But basically what I did is I staked it all the way to the first little cross beam right here at the bottom. So right here I staked it and pushed it down and then covered that with dirt. And then I folded it over and did the same thing on the other side. I do kind of want to leave these as short as they are but at the same time I kind of want to make them taller, but I have this that's in the way, so there's not a lot of head space between here and here as far as making them taller. So I just might leave them as is. The little rodent problem came back. As you can see, that corner is damaged. I dug down in there and smoke bombed them with a gopher gasser. In fact, there's one of the gopher gassers over there. Basically, it's a deterrent, but it can kill them, and at this point I just don't care because there's just like millions of these little a-holes just running around. But I have my 2 broccolis that were in my grow bag right there. There was one over there. I thought it died on its own, but I guess it was the rodent. There was a crookneck squash over there. No, it was over here. And the rodent got to that, so I think that's either a cantaloupe or a butternut. I don't remember which one is which, but it's over there. And all these little guys right here are supposed to be the same thing, except for this guy right here. And then there's this one and that one way over there. They're all supposed to be the same crookneck squash, but again, because of the issue I have with the rodent, they're not exactly all the same anymore. But the idea for the hoops were to let these run up the hoops, so that way I've had room underneath to add things and whatnot if I wanted to. I do have, and I'll come back over there, a little tiny plant I'm excited for. But we have one of my mulberries right here is doing okay, it looks like. It seems to be growing slowly. Everyone's like, oh, they're super fast growers in their first year, and I'm expecting like massive amounts of growth, and well, slow but sure wins the race, I suppose. What I'm excited about is this little bag right here. If anybody can see them, they will look very familiar to lots of people. These are my watermelon bags. So my watermelon patch right here. This I do believe is a 10-gallon bag. It's not completely 100% full to the top. It has sank down with being watered because I just flood it and let it do its thing and let them grow on their own. I have each one labeled. So we have a Dixie Queen, we have a Crimson Red, we have a Black Diamond, and a Yellow Petite. So here's my black, my Dixie, my Crimson, and my Yellow Petite. There's 2 or 3 seeds per, and it looks like the Crimson and the Dixie have 2 growing, where the black and the yellow only have 1, which is okay. I do have a Moon and Star, not from the brand that these were from. These were a brand I got at Cal Ranch. But my Baker Creek Moon and Star watermelon is over there, which I got to plant, and it's doing alright for now. It's got plenty of leaves on it. So I don't know if you can see this little guy, but he is currently eating my rose. Sorry, that was loud. Now I figured out who's eating my rose. The little imposter that looks like a bee. So if you guys could help me, this is what it looks like for the damage. He's quite literally just cookie cuttering out little circles. So, help. We've gone past being sunburnt and stressed out. This poor little rose never bloomed originally. This is also a Summer Winds rose. This is my Double Delight. And I would like to see this little guy right here bloom, just to see what the heck it looks like for once. But now I'm fighting a carpenter plant eating bug of sorts, and I got bird droppings on the plant. Really, guys? Really? Okay, so this little row of things here, these are, the majority of the reason these are tomatoes. These 2 here, those are Baker Creek tomatoes. I don't know what they are. We won't know until they flower and bloom. Stay out of the garden. Out. Shh. Out. Don't meow at me. Get out. You know better. No, I said out. 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 I said out. Sorry, I had to lightly toss shoes at her. Now she's playing with them. Alright, so these two are Baker Creek tomatoes. I don't remember which ones they are. These are my jalapenos I got from Home Depot. These tomatoes right here, these bigger bushier ones, get out of there, are a gift from a customer I had that came into my work. I have this Icelandic Poppy that still has a teeny bit of green on it, but I'm not entirely sure if it's okay or not. There's a mystery plant behind it. That yellow snapdragon came back. It bushed out really pretty, and it's doing well. That Xeon Sun is doing okay. Not doing the best. There's some sort of little weird issue with the plants over here as well. Let's see. We have this white one down here is a stock flower as well. That's doing alright. It's a little beaten up, it looks like, but it's still doing alright. That one next to it, that's a little green pom-pom looking thing, is also a snapdragon. I think that's my pink or purple one. I have some zinnias and whatnot popping up because I just threw a bunch of seeds in here. These little bushes are the ones I said weren't doing so well compared to the ones by my front door. And then all the brown stuff used to be rankuluses, but I've got like flowers popping up in between all of those because I planted that, so that way it would look better and not so dead inside. I moved my raspberries over here, so I have these two white buckets and this black bucket here are all raspberry bushes. I have two boysenberries. One's doing so-so, one's not so great. Another blueberry that I think is officially died at this point. A mulberry. The two original raspberries, I was hoping that they'd pull through, but I guess not. So good thing I guess I got them replaced in the end. Let's see, what else do I got over here? This little stock flower is just randomly hanging out over here. This is my Home Depot's Rio Sombra rose. I've showed it in the past videos. This one's doing alright. It suffered through some stress, it looks like, but it's getting some blooms. As you can see, those little red tips are going to be where blooms are going to be. This whole area over here that looks like a little confetti went off is where some more plants are. They're just tiny and small and you can't see them right now. I don't want to know what that was. Something rolled off my shoulder. Alright, this over here is my burst of joy. It has been nothing but a burst of joy for the majority of the reason. We suffered some heat damage. Get out of the garden. Out. No, I said out. Hold on, I gotta poke with a stick. Get out. Then get out. There, shit. Sorry, she's being annoying because she wants attention. But this one's been pretty good. This is my other Playboy that I have. It's getting some direct sun for the first time. So we'll see how that goes. That little carpenter looking cutter bumblebee thingamajig, whatever it is, it's a cute little bug, whatever it is. Looks like a little bee. It's only attacking that one plant. I don't know why. These don't have it. The other Playboy didn't have it. None of these roses have it. Oh, except for that one maybe. That one I just saw a little circle cut out. So, yeah. Just the roses from Summer Winds. Only those roses. I don't get it. Somebody help me what that thing is. Alright, let's go back around because I'm running out of real estate to walk on. And she has my shoes. Okay, so here's a better look at the moon and star I have, and these are white tomatoes that are sitting next to it. I'm going to be planting those later today. I just needed a little bit of time and a nap. I'm going to retrieve my shoes now. Ooh. Girl, why are you always standing in my garden? I see little kitty paw prints. You and your mom, I swear. Yeah, I'm talking to you. Okay. This is the little yellow snapdragon, if you guys didn't see it earlier. Sorry. It's gonna be a long video because this little guy, I'm gonna get him, I swear. Where'd he go? Just sitting on plants, stop it. Alright, so we have more tomatoes. An irritating little cat, and plat. Okay. We have our dark oval basil tucked in amongst all of these here. There's only 4 of them. I have little plants popping up here as well. Some of them are supposed to be forage. Some of them I don't remember what they were. I just had a plethora of plants. I know the ones in the back are zinnias for sure. Like this one over here, it looks like that one might be a borage plant. I have some heather queen, or what I like to call queen's heather because it makes more sense to me. I think that that's what these are right here. I have some other stuff. Get your little hiney out of there. Boot you in your butt. Alright, this is one of my other snapdragons. This one was the first one to bloom like that. I think that since I moved them out of their pots they originally came in, and that they've been sitting over here chilling and just growing, they've become happier and now they are blooming again. This guy right here is the Xeon Sun. I looked it up. It's also considered an African daisy, so I'm not sure exactly what it particularly is. I have a label floating around here somewhere, but right now it's being home to a spider apparently because there's a spider web right there. So it is what it is. As long as the spider eats all the bad bugs, I don't care. So, but that looks like about everything. Sorry I got distracted a bunch. She was no help apparently. So, thank you guys for sticking with me. I know this is a really long video, but I hope you guys enjoyed at least seeing and hearing about the garden today. Like I said, anything that's left in these tiny pots or little 6-pack doodads, they are all getting planted hopefully today if I have enough time and brain power to remember that, because I'm just super tired lately. You little booger. I swear that little bug is just like mocking me at this point because it just buzzed me in my face. These guys right here, my Playboys, they are getting new pots as soon as I can afford them. I went to Home Depot and I saw these little ceramic green pots that I liked and my husband liked, and they're like 40 bucks, so they're like $80 for 2, but we're gonna get them for them so they have a little bit more wiggle room, and because I don't want to plant them at this time like he wants me to, but at the same time like I've got a bunch of little seedlings just popping up still, so I don't want to like undo some progress that I've started with. So maybe in the future I will, but for now they will remain in a pot. So any suggestions on pest control, any suggestions on what that little bee looking thing is? It's black and white. It literally cuts circles into my leaves. I'm not sure what it is. I haven't tried looking it up yet, but suggestions are welcomed and wonderful at this point in time. So I'll see you guys on the next video. Thank you guys for watching. I so much appreciate it. Like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. And I will catch y'all later. Bye.